What the fuck are you thinking? What the fuck are you thinking?
Welcome to What the Fuck Are You Thinking?
Where ideas clash and comfort zones get torched.
I'm Mr. B, he's Mr. Smith.
And we're not here to play nice.
We're here to tackle politics, culture, tech, and philosophy.
The wild stuff, the heated stuff, the real stuff.
Unfiltered debates, no script, just raw thought.
Expect bold opinions, sharp minds, and a few curveballs.
So if you're tired of safe talk
and ready to question everything, this is your spot.
This is your spot.
I'm all ears.
Welcome to What the Fuck Are You Thinking? Today we're going to the topic of what are we teaching our children in schools? Mr. Smith, what is your conservative view on what we should be teaching our kids in schools?
I think we should emphasize on local control, parental choice, traditional values, federal oversight, prioritize empowering families, stuff to that nature. Core academics like math, science, literature.
I lean towards inclusiveness. I want to involve everybody from every background. I want to explore the full complexity of our history. I want academic freedom. I don't want censorship. I support teachers. I support experts in the field, and I support experts to help the teachers and to help me understand what we should be teaching in the schools. So I want to emphasize things that reflect the American society, our race, our culture, our gender, and our ideologies. So coming at it from a more inclusive type of position. I want our children to be able to learn in an environment where they can question things and still feel safe to learn them. You know what I'm saying? I think that if we're shielding our students from different topics, then we're really not equipping them to deal with the challenges that we're dealing with today. So we can't not teach them, because that really doesn't protect them. That makes them invulnerable and less informed when they do have to face these situations out in society. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it depends on what topics you're talking about, because it's pretty vague. If you're talking about teaching sexuality in school, that's should be completely off limits. If you're talking about if you're talking about allowing parents to deal with the social issues outside of the school, that's probably a better idea.
We'll get to that. Let's start with books, because where do you stand on books and different topics of books being taught in our schools?
Well, it goes under the same thing. If you're not sticking to the basic things, your math, your literature, history, science, things of that nature, that's fine. But if you start thinking about gender identity and anything sexual, it doesn't belong in the school, period.
Really?
Unless you're teaching biology, which is not really sexuality. It's just the basic facts of how human life is formed.
Sure. So when were you taught sex education? When was that introduced in your school career?
I believe it was junior high. Wasn't really sex ed, but I didn't really have sex ed. When they started touching sexual content, it was around junior high.
For me, it was fifth grade. Fifth grade, we had the whole sex talk. But to be honest with you, we basically already knew in fifth grade. It was kind of too late. And then, of course, in high school,
society taught you, and then from there, your parents would teach you the right and wrong of it. And in school, basically, all they taught me was how a male and female created life. They didn't go into any other things than that.
That was in fifth grade. Absolutely. So where are we on book banning? Where do you stand on that?
Again, the same thing. If you have sexuality in there, graphic sexuality, things of that nature, if you're teaching that kind of stuff, that this doesn't belong in school. It's not school curriculum.
So you don't agree with a book called Gender Queer by Mia, and I'm gonna butcher this name, I apologize, Kobabe. which is about LGBTQ representation and identity exploration.
No, I absolutely do not
That would
agree with
be,
that book.
you don't agree with that book
Not
because of the
not in the
sexual
least bit.
content, right?
Correct, because of the
Because
sexual
of this,
contact.
even though it's really just talking about identity exploration. All right,
Identity
wait, what about
exploration is
this one?
not something that a school should be teaching. That's a
But don't
social
they have
issue
to?
and that's a family issue.
But don't they have to deal with that because the student is there 6, 8 hours a day?
The student is there to learn and they need to be taught and they need to
Right,
be
but
guided
that's
into
not
being taught.
that's something that they should be able to talk about. Well,
Not if
let's
it's
be
not a
honest.
subject in the
There
school.
are they having sex in the schools?
I don't know if they're having
Boys and
sex in
girls,
the
are they?
schools.
So you were in the school system. How many
That's not
schools
part
did
of
you
the
go to?
education curriculum.
Right, and because we're not teaching them, we're getting in trouble. That's a whole
We're
nother
not getting
topic.
in
So wait,
trouble.
what about?
It's normal activity for a young human that's growing, and that is something that
Right,
it should
and
be taught by people that are close to them and intimate with them, as in family members and things of that nature, not teachers.
oh, well, what about health class? You remember health? They really went into health there. I mean, they really went into sexuality there. They talked about condoms in there, sexually transmitted disease. That's all in health class.
They taught
That's high
about
school,
the
and that's
they touched on the fact that you could get yourself in trouble by catching diseases or making somebody pregnant at a young age or even at an older age catching diseases and things of that nature. Yes, they touched on those subjects for a quick protection. They didn't dwell on those. The only thing they dwelled on was biology. This is how a human is
okay.
created.
Okay. So let's take a look at this. What about the AIDS pandemic in the 80s? Because we didn't educate our students that you can't get AIDS by touching people, there was a lot of hate crimes. The lack of education there. Really, we could have been at the forefront in helping our students and helping our society by educating our students, because a lot of this education that the students receive, they bring it home and they educate the parents too. But there
The
was
problem
none
with
of
that
that.
was because of the fact that the media was pushing those, they weren't pushing the truth because they didn't know the
How,
truth. It was a new disease, and because it was a new disease, it was panic all around. And
there was
so
panic,
the correct
but even when
information
the
was not
truth
even
came out,
put into a curriculum.
right, it doesn't have to be in a curriculum, and that
It,
should have been shared. I'm
if it's
just using
going
that
into a
as an
school, it needs
example.
to be put into a curriculum, a guided curriculum. This is the problem that we have with people that are in power of our children, power of our court systems, power of our government. You need to have specific rules that and guidelines that you follow. This is your job. I'm a mechanic. There are specific things that I must do to be a mechanic. I can't go into a
Oh
mechanic
yeah,
and into my job and start commanding this and commanding that, saying that I'm this and saying that I'm that. It's there's no place for it in
right.
that
But
environment.
what my example was is when we did figure this out, if we would have used our school systems to educate our children, uh, we could have eradicated a lot of that hate or that bias against the LGBTQ community. That's all I'm saying. How about this book, this book is also on the ban list, The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison. It's a literary merit on racial trauma and awareness. What do you think of that?
Racial trauma and awareness is probably going to be something that I would be leery of, but needs to be taught, not in a
Okay.
graphic manner.
Really?
The problem is
Really?
that if you teach in a graphic manner, look at the films that people watch. They're action movies. People are getting shot and killed, and it's fun and yay and woohoo. And when you teach that type of curriculum where it's gory, um, it tends to backfire. It tends to plant seed of hatred. If you teach it
Did
in a
you have to
manner,
read?
if you teach it
Go
in a
on.
manner of these are the things that happened, without going into huge graphics, people were killed because of their skin color, because of their race,
Hmm.
because of their beliefs in religion. I mean, this is going back for BC. I mean, this is part of history. People have been doing this for since the dawning of time. And the issue is that you need to teach it, because if you don't teach it, it repeats itself.
Okay, that's heavy. We'll get into that. Here's a book that I had to read, To Kill a Mockingbird. Have you ever read that book?
I did
I'm
read
sure
that
you
book.
have.
Yes.
It's like,
yep.
it's mandatory reading. So here is a racial book
I'm trying to think. When I was going
about a man.
into junior high, I believe that they were just starting the verbiage of banning that book. Maybe it was
Right,
high school.
it's not
Maybe it was high
banned.
school.
It's
No,
not
it's not.
banned.
It was
It's
on the
been
list.
considered,
Right.
but dude, it's about a man
It's a
accused of rape.
phenomenal movie as well.
But that's not the point. The point is, it's about sexuality. It's about racism. Why isn't that book banned, but you don't agree with this book? I don't understand that.
The book wasn't the gentleman was charged with a rape, correct?
Correct.
And it was proven that it wasn't him that did the rape. But it was assumed that he did the rape because he was black.
Right. And no, he did not get off. He was charged, and he didn't get off. He had to go to jail. Even though
later he was
the
acquitted,
proof
but,
was there.
but maybe not. It's been years. I mean, you're talking.
Okay.
You're aging me.
All right. Right.
But the fact of the
Wait,
matter
what
is
about
that type of an injustice needs to be taught.
how about this one? Yeah, it absolutely needs to be taught. How about this book? Another American classic, Huckleberry Finn: The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain.
That's vague.
Dude.
I mean, that's a vague one for me.
Why? Why is that? What do you...
I recall it, but I don't recall. I think it was only because they used the N-word
over 200 times. Right. Now, listen to this. I was at a private school. I went to 15 different schools, and I switched schools 17 different times. But at this school, I was not the only black. Right? Amen. Yes, I'm an Air Force brat. But the point of the matter is we read that book, Huckleberry Finn, out loud in the classroom. Okay. Now, I wasn't the only black student in the school, but I was the only blac student in the classroom. Hard R, over 200 times. Don't tell me that wasn't uncomfortable.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, this strikes a chord, man. If I'm going to endure that.
See, I always thought it was a bring home book and read. I don't really remember Huckleberry Finn, to be honest with you. I remember
it all depends.
Small parts of it, and I think it was because I might have glanced at the movie once or twice. I don't think I ever actually read that book. To Kill a Mockingbird, I did read and also saw the movie.
Right. And how about Catcher in the Rye?
That's the same.
I
recall it, and I probably know some quotes from it, but I don't recall.
But that's sure you do. That one tackled mental illness. George and oh man, I can't remember his name now, but he was the one, he wanted to pet the rabbits, and he ended up killing the woman. She was pretty. You don't remember Catcher in the Rye? Well, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna have to refresh my memory on that one.
It's a good book, actually, but these are the types of books that are considered American classics. If you compare them to the books that people want banned, they're very similar. It's hypocritical to say we can't have this book because there's too much sexuality. It's too much reality for our students, but we can have this one. Oh, that's an American classic. Of course we can have that one.
Well, to be fair, I did not read the two books that you mentioned from the LGBTQ community, and as far as To Kill a Mockingbird is concerned, it was not, the crime was not described in intimate detail that he was charged with.
Okay. Well, let's look at one other thing here as far as book banning is concerned. There was another country that did this exact same thing. Do you remember, or do you know what country I'm talking about?
Probably Germany.
Germany,
right? Of course.
Yeah. That fascism, that's a road that I don't think we want to go down.
You're right, but at the same time, you have to take into consideration that sexuality does not belong in schools, nor does it belong in, or gender identification or any of those. They don't belong in schools. They don't belong in government. It's a social issue. It's a problem that the parents need to address with the child. It's a way more intimate issue than any teacher or government official needs to touch.
It's already in our schools.
It may be in the schools, but it's always been there.
Is it on your TV?
Gay children.
Is it on your TV?
Yes.
Is it on your
There's
TV?
tons of things on my TV that I would never want my kid to learn in school, but you don't go to school
But
to
they
learn those
are.
types of things. You learn those things
But
from
you
a teacher
do.
teaching
Of
you.
course you do.
You may, but you're not supposed to be by the teacher. The teacher's words coming out of their mouth are supposed to be structured curriculum.
It's supposed to be a safe environment where they can learn.
They have
And if we're
counselors for
not
that.
equipping,
Teachers are not
if we're
counselors.
not equipping our children to learn,
And you're a bad
then we're
parent.
handicapping them when they get a lot
No,
of
you
parents.
need to
Dude,
go.
look at our
You need to have
society now. You have two
conversations with your
parents
parents.
working. Absolutely, you do.
You'd be lucky to have two
and
parents.
that's not the point. The point is you spend 6-8 hours at school. You spend what, 4 hours, 5 hours at home? And what are you doing at home? You're eating dinner, you're watching TV, you're doing homework. There's less interaction there. Yes, you should be discussing things there. And yes, parents engage. Absolutely. They need to engage. But our school systems are raising our kids. Let's be honest here. It's simple math. They spend more time at a school.
Yeah, look what's coming out. Mental illness. They're producing
Basically, I'm just
mentally
saying,
ill children. That's what our
I
school.
wouldn't
Why do you
go
think?
that.
Come on, man. Look at our society now. It's insane.
I'm saying that if you don't teach our children that about these topics, whether it's race, whether it's LGBTQ, and what that group is going through, and we're not just talking about the sexuality, we're also talking about the things that they contribute. I mean, we're not talking about anything. You can't do that. You can't do. You have to include all these marginalized parts of our society. You can't just no. And
Not
we
in
have to
school.
trust our wait. You have to trust that the kids, when they get to high school, are mature enough. I mean, obviously, you're not going to give this to a third grader, but as they get older, they're going to have to tackle this stuff. They
Yeah,
already
in
are,
college,
but they
that's
already
college stuff.
are.
You go through
I'm
college,
saying,
you're over 18 years of age. That's where you learn that kind of stuff. Hell, they
okay,
even have classes that
let's
teach it on a more direct level that they offer in
sure,
college.
absolutely. But it's like math. You need to learn how to balance your checkbook. You need to learn how to budget. That's
Yeah,
math.
but you don't
That
need
will
to.
help
You don't need to go to school to learn how to dock.
And with
That's.
that awesome,
I mean,
let's go
let's
on
be
to.
real. Seriously, you don't. Why are you teaching your kids? Why are kids learning that kind of stuff in school? Why is it?
I don't
Why
believe
would a teacher? Why would a teacher spit that kind of stuff out of their mouth?
I don't think they would. The books that I had mentioned really don't talk about that. But thank you for
Yes,
the
but
visual.
nowadays that's what
Now,
teachers are indoctrinating children with, that kind of stuff, that kind of slop, that kind of
no, they
crap.
are not.
They have gay
No, they're
pride
not.
flags and they don't have American flag.
Wait a second. Whoa. You crossed the line. You have a problem with the rainbow?
I don't, but you can't fly a rainbow flag and bitch about the fact that an American flag's not being flown. You can't do that.
Nobody's bitching about that.
They threw the American
Nobody.
flag out of half the freaking schools in the United States because they were complaining
No,
about it.
Where are you getting this? Pull it up. I want to see
Please.
this. Half of America, they're no, where? Where does that come from? Where? Pull it up. You got it?
No, I don't know how to use the internet. They didn't teach me in school.
I'm sure you're going to find a story where maybe 1 or 2 schools did that, okay? And I bet you it snowballed on the internet, and now it's bouncing around everybody that is on the right. And I don't mean the right, I mean the far right. And it's just snowballing into, my fish was this big one. And then the next person, it's this big. And the next, well, now it's up to half. Come on. What you got? You got it?
They're saying that the removal of American flags from classrooms has become a flashpoint in the border culture war in schools, viewing it as a symptom of declining patriotism and the influence of progressive ideology.
Yeah, no. Okay, it still doesn't tell me what school and how many and what states. That's just saying, I'm just going to throw something out there and see if it sticks to the wall. How many people are going to look at this? Where's the base? Where's the facts? What's it based on?
Well, I'd have to look further into it. But
Well,
the fact of the matter is, there is
sure.
definitely 66% of parents believe schools should display the American flag.
Of course they should.
But I'm saying that there are teachers that are removing those flags and putting gay pride flags up instead. Gay pride flags doesn't even belong in the school at all. Period.
Why?
Because
what?
it's sexuality.
This flag?
You're teaching
No,
sexuality.
No, it's not. The rainbow represents two things to me. Thank you for this platform. Thing number one, the rainbow is from Noah's Ark. It's from Genesis 9. It's God promising never to destroy the planet with the flood again. Okay, that's number one. He says to Noah, "Hey, this is a reminder of my covenant that I won't do this." That's the first place I get the rainbow. The second place, the LGBTQ uses the rainbow as a flag, and it represents inclusiveness. It represents everybody. Where have I heard that before? America? America? Where everybody lives? As
If I'm
far
flying
as
an
all
American
your
flag and I walk
cultures?
into an LGBTQ march, they are not accepting me. I don't even have to say a word.
Right, exactly. Because the American flag has been politicalized. It is now a weapon, and it's not a weapon. It's a symbol of inclusiveness. We're all Americans.
Except it's
Come
not
on, man.
inclusiveness. It's not.
It is. It
The
absolutely
okay,
is.
let's just back up. A
Okay.
Democrat believes one thing, a Republican believes another thing. And at face value, those are the things that they want you to believe that they believe. Their core
Okay.
values for each of the people that believe those kind of things are set.
Okay. No,
But they're
I don't
false. They're
accept
wrong.
that at all.
Republicans and Democrats,
Absolutely.
the politicians are just talking heads. They don't really believe what they're saying, whether they're Republicans or conservatives, the politicians. When you get an
I
LGBTQ pride parade and I walk in there with an American flag and don't even say a word, they're not going to inclusively accept me. It's not going to happen.
Whoa. I disagree with you.
I
Um, I could say the same thing about different groups of people here in America. They can look at me and not accept me right away. Doesn't matter if I have a rainbow or an American flag. Uh, that's why I live here, though, because of that diversity. Listen, to argue your point, let's say there's a war. Let's say America's getting attacked, okay? And I go to war, okay? Am I just going to war for Black America? No, that's ludicrous. I'm going to war for Democrats, Republicans, Blacks, whites, indigenous people, the LGBTQ community, any racist groups. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fight and die for Americans. Period. You understand what I'm saying?
that's the right. I'm not saying that people don't have the right. They have the right. You can't call them inclusive and accepting because they're not. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos of proof of that. You can't.
Whoa, whoa,
They're
whoa,
not.
whoa, whoa, whoa. It-
They're not.
okay, time out. Just as many videos that are out there with the LGBTQ not being inclusive, which doesn't even make sense to me, because if you're about love, uh, they would not say, you can't be here. There are just as many videos of people flying their American flags, spitting just as much hate towards that community. As a matter of fact,
You're not wrong.
that is a
I'm not going to
marginalized
argue.
community.
I'm not going to even argue that. You're not wrong.
And here's the crazy thing. What percentage of the population identifies as one of these letters? What percentage of the population?
That I don't know. You would probably know that.
7%. 7%.
Right. So
What
a minority.
no, one more question. What percentage of the population is white? What percent?
I don't know these days.
75%.
Okay.
So why does 75%
What are you saying white though?
because you're still a majority.
Right.
You have nothing to worry about. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not worried about anything.
Then why do we have an issue with the LGBT community having rights? Why are they marginalized?
I don't have an issue with it.
Well, you just said that they
I have an
are
issue
not
with their
inclusive.
claim of I have an issue with their claim that they would accept everybody and love everybody. Listen,
Their flag represents inclusivity.
that's what it represents, but
okay,
it's not truth. The people that are the far left LGBTQ community these days is off the rails, completely off the rails. So the 7% barking
that.
like they do, I mean, it's 7%. Come on, that's a minority. But anyways,
I know.
let's think about it.
Yeah.
Gay people,
Let's
lesbians,
think about it.
Traditional
what
gays,
about them?
traditional lesbians. I have
Yeah.
zero issues with them. I have no issues whatsoever with them. I'd be walking down the street and they're holding hands. I got no problems with it.
Yeah.
None.
But you just said they weren't inclusive, and they wouldn't. If you had an American flag, they wouldn't let you march with them. That's insane. Of course they
Marching. You're
would.
talking about marching. You're talking
I'm not
about a
talking
bunch
about
of
anything.
lunatics getting together is what it turned into a lunatic pot.
Okay, time out. What you're talking about is radicalized to the left or radicalized to the right. And you're right. Both
Which is
sides
the
have
biggest
crazy
voice.
people.
The
No,
biggest
no.
voice
They're,
for the
they're the
LGBT community nowadays is the far left. The radical. That is the largest voice that you see. That's portrayed in the news.
right on both sides. Yeah, the
Right.
crazy people. Those are the people that they put on the news so that they get ratings. Absolutely. That we agree on. Okay, let's go to the next topic because it's just as wild. Let's talk about history, specifically in the classroom. What do you think?
History in the classroom is not being taught correctly because they
Oh, well,
they leave things out. And when you leave things
like
out,
what?
they don't touch enough on human trafficking. They don't touch enough on
Human trafficking.
tons of
Are you
things. Yeah,
talking about?
anything
Are you talking
having to do with
about?
humans, human trafficking, buying and selling of humans.
Okay, that visits the last topic of you saying we shouldn't talk about sexuality in the schools. I'm talking about history. I'm talking
about slavery.
Yes, slavery, indigenous people, as far as that is concerned, and what we did with them. Any marginalized, you have the Japanese experience here. You have the any immigrant, the Scottish when they came over. I'm sorry, the Irish. What they came over and what they had to endure, and we're
They were
just
also
talking
sold
about
and
the
bought and
negative
sold. They were
parts.
slaves.
But I'm trying to say I don't think so. But what I'm trying to say is each of these groups that came, their history needs to be taught. The LGBTQ community, their history also has to be taught. Absolutely, everybody. Do you agree with that? All those histories need to be
No, I
taught.
don't believe in the sexuality being taught. I do believe in
But
the rest of the
it's still
histories, the Irish, the Japanese, the
wait.
blacks.
It doesn't have to be. Whoa, whoa, whoa! It doesn't have to be sexual. Just they had to fight to get married or civil unions, whatever
Yeah,
you
because
want to
it's
call
not
it. They had
normal.
to fight for that. That doesn't have anything to do with sexuality. That's just a civil union.
Okay, when you're gay or you're a lesbian, what
Yeah,
what is the point of having a sexual relationship?
they love each other.
Okay, but sexualism or having sex is for creating life.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, yes, that's definitely what. No, yeah,
So
sexuality is
over sexualizing
just as
sexuality.
colorful as this rainbow.
Yeah, but over that's over sexualization. Teaching people to have high body counts and do different things to whoever you want to do. It's not what sex is for.
I'm not talking about what goes on behind closed doors. What I'm
Yeah, you
talking
are.
about is their rights. No, I'm talking about the rights that they struggled for, just like the women's movement, the rights
Okay,
that women
you being
struggled to
black is
get,
not a
the
choice.
rights
Is
of
not a
blacks.
choice. An Irish person is not a choice. A Japanese person is not a choice. A gay or a lesbian is a choice.
Wow, that okay. So what you're also saying then is if I'm an alcoholic, I have a choice, right? It's not
Absolutely, you do.
something that it's a disease.
It's not a disease. Okay, so you're
it
saying
is a
that gay.
disease.
So now you're saying that we should.
No. What I'm
Oh,
trying to say is you are born with no, you are born with the components, the addictive components. You see what I'm saying? You
but
have
there's
an
help to get
addictive
out of it.
personality. Yeah, there is.
Is there help to get out of being gay?
Not if you're born that way.
So if you're born an alcoholic, you can't get help to ever get out of being an alcoholic.
All right, that was a poor analogy. What I am trying to say is I am not an expert at these particular letters or
Well,
people that identify as one of them, so I can't really talk into it. But I can defend the fact that they have a history, okay, and they had to struggle for their rights. And I can
they
identify
chose to
with that
struggle. They
as an
chose.
American. No,
That is a
no,
choice. They they put it on themselves. They
really,
chose that lifestyle.
we'll get there. All
It's a
right,
choice.
listen, we agree on the fact that all history needs to be taught. And we have two great
For people that can't
examples
change their
of
history, for people that didn't have a choice to be, but were forced into history, yes.
but it's American history. It's American history that you're saying, nope, I don't want to talk about.
I'm not gonna.
It's still they're Americans. They have a struggle. They're winning their struggle. They have rights. And we're going to say, no, we're not going to teach you about that. Okay, let me give you two examples. There are two countries, Germany and Japan. Okay, both of them, World War II, committed huge atrocities, obviously, but they are dealing with it in two completely different ways. All right. Germany is embracing their history. It is mandatory that they learn about the Holocaust when they go to school. They even have to go and visit concentration camps. The kids, okay? Not to glorify it, but to learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. Okay? They own their history and they're better for it. Okay? Because they're honest. Now let's look at Japan. Japan, they marginalize World War II. They don't really even talk about what they did to the Chinese. None of that. I might get this wrong, but they had a giant battleship, the Yamato. Okay, it was their flag battleship. They even have a museum for it right now. Today, you can go online and take a virtual tour. Okay, we sank that. We sank, obviously, we won the war, but that ship was sank to the bottom, right? Well, here's something crazy. They had a cartoon about that ship in the 1970s and 80s. You may have seen it. It even made it over here into the United States, but they changed the name. The name wasn't the Yamato. They changed it to Star Blazers. Do you remember that cartoon by any chance?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, well let's take it a step further. So now Japan is allowed to have a military. Guess what they're naming their big battleship? The Yamato. If you go and ask any of these Japanese children about World War II, the way they spin it to their kids is two big bombs were dropped. They're claiming to be the victims. You know, that's kind of how they spin it.
Right.
And what's
so then they're
dangerous
doomed to have
about that
history
is
repeat itself.
exactly
Get bombed again.
exactly. Well, no. Those are just two examples that we could learn from. Now let's take America. Where is America as far as these two are concerned? In my opinion, America's right in the middle because we do talk about these things. We know what we did to indigenous people. We know what we did to Black people, but we fall way short because we're worried that history is taught, then our children are going to come away with a complex. What I can't remember the exact term, but they're going to feel less about themselves because of this history.
Oh, is that why they're coming off
You
college
know what I'm saying?
campuses? The liberals are coming off college campuses now saying that I owe Black people money.
Okay, let's put this in context. Okay, for over 200 years, it was acceptable in America, and I know we weren't called America when this began. But for 200 plus years, it was acceptable to kill indigenous people.
Yeah,
Kill them.
they had cartoons about it all the way
To
into
the-
the 60s and 70s.
Right. To the point where
Remember
it's
Bugs Bunny?
crazy.
One little, two little,
Yes, of
three
course.
little Indians.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is we killed 85 to 90% of their population. Gone. Wiped out.
Yeah, and then we enslaved the rest of them.
Right. So it made them move. We killed them off, whether it was disease, whether we actually killed them, or whether by
Gave them
moving
crap
them
land.
of course.
Indoctrinated their children by throwing them in Christian camps.
And sterilized them. Sterilized them so they couldn't even have kids. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
All right. And let's look at Black Americans and what they did to Blacks.
They did basically the same thing.
I mean, what's even crazier about Blacks is they freed the slaves, and then, of course, you had Jim Crow laws up until 1965. Come on. Are you kidding me? This is all history that we need to have.
Absolutely.
And the reason that we need this is necessary because by having these types of conversations, we're looking at these things, and I do want to add the LGBT.
You can put an asterisk next to that one.
But their struggle as well. I'm just
they can
saying
have an
that
asterisk
if we
because
don't,
they're not. Theirs is a choice, as far as I'm concerned.
the point of the matter is we need to have all history taught. Okay. That's the only way we're going to learn from it. And that's the only way we're not going to repeat it, as you said. We have to. That's why you can't ban books. Okay. Just because you're offended by a book doesn't mean it's a bad book. Okay. And it's not just teaching these kids about the negative part of their history, because you still have indigenous people that are awesome and have done positive things for the community. Same with blacks, LGBTQ community. Same with Japanese. Same with Irish, as we talked about. There's so much that we don't teach our children, and by not teaching our children and equipping them with this type of stuff, not only are we not equipping them to not repeat history, but we're also dooming them to be locked into the thinking that they have and not be open to have a conversation. And what I mean by that is, take my history. Now, I'm also mixed, so it's only half of my history, but let's take my Black history. If I'm only taught about the slavery, okay, that's my history, then what I think I can accomplish in the future is very low because of where I came from. All right. So he who controls the past controls my history, is also controlling my future, what I think I can accomplish. And if you're controlling my future, then you're controlling me right now, because I'm not working for a grandiose thing. I don't think I can make, man, I'm just saying, we're doing our children an injustice by not talking to them about their history. It's
I
terrible.
completely agree. You absolutely
All
have
right.
to.
Well,
You absolutely have to teach history in order for it not to repeat itself. Two things I taught my kids. Well, one thing I taught my kids, especially when they were in school, it didn't matter who the person was. You never bully anybody, ever. That was my rule. You do not bully anybody. Everybody has a right. You do not walk up and bully someone. If your friends are bullying them, you stick up for them. And both of them,
yeah.
still to this day, have that characteristic. It was a forbidden, like one
Well,
of the most forbidden rules. Like, you break that rule and you were in some serious trouble with me.
we did it completely different. We chose not to send our children to school. We homeschooled.
Smart.
Well, it, it wasn't like we didn't try the school system, and it wasn't like they didn't, or they weren't a part of the school system, because we still used some of their curriculum, some of their classes. But by having a homeschool type of environment, we taught the kids. We knew their friends. We knew their friends' parents. So it made for a different experience than the one I had, where I went to public schools, I went to private schools, I went to boarding schools. It's nuts. And let me tell you, all schools have issues. I don't care what school or how much money they put into it. Kids are still kids. All right. So, you ready for the next topic? Let's talk about parental rights in the school system. What do you think about that?
Well, that's where I was touching on the things where a teacher needs to have a curriculum that they follow that is X, Y, and Z, and it's spelled out for them, and then they don't go all the way out to whatever letter they want to go out to. This is what you teach, period. And
Really?
then parents would teach
Yeah.
your religion. Parents would teach your any sexual questions. Parents would teach that. Uh, Horrifying graphic stuff. Parents would deal with that stuff. But when you come to that stuff in school, not a teacher's right, because they don't teach it. A lot of them teach it with their bias involved with it. So they're not
Every
teaching.
teacher has bias.
Not If you're a good teacher, you don't have bias. Just like a reporter, if you're a good reporter, you don't have bias either. If you're
Well,
pushing bias,
I
that's called indoctrination. You're indoctrinating. You're teaching it from a view and pushing an agenda. And you have to be very careful with that kind of stuff. That's why they should be teaching
I
math,
just
science, history, biology, core basic things in school, period. And can somebody please teach them
okay.
how to do taxes and things of that nature as well? That'd be great. Put that in the curriculum. Why don't you take the class where you teach them about how guys can be dogs, and teach them about how to be a person that can do a W-2 or a tax form. Cut one, add the other.
I don't think you can do that with a curriculum. I don't think you can just say, this is a sterile environment. I'm only teaching you X, Y, and Z. You need to have student involvement. You need to have student interaction. The student has to be able to be equipped to go off in the directions that most interest them. It's a learning environment. Let's get them to learn. If I'm just saying A, B, Yeah, man, they're going to check out. I know I checked out, totally checked out.
So you're talking about
It was.
memorization, teaching, doing memorization.
I'm talking about if you're just going to put a curriculum in front of a student where there's no, it's just boundaries. That student's going to fight it because kids are going to test your boundaries. It's not fostering an education that's
How is it not
rich.
fostering an education? How is it not teaching the child to accept the situation that they're in at the moment and handle it the way that they're supposed to handle it? When they go to a job, it's structured.
Yeah.
So you're teaching the child to be structured.
So
That's
you're
part of
not
teaching.
they can't think outside the box.
Can you think
Which is
outside
what
the box at your
companies
job?
want.
No, they don't.
I have to. 100%. 100%.
Think outside of the box as far as fixing problems that don't cost them money.
Oh, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Think
That's
outside the box, solve problems that save
so
them
you
money.
don't have to spend money. Of course they're going to let you do that.
But that's thinking outside the box.
You still have a structure though.
It's a loose structure. And it all depends on where you work. Go work at Google. There's a loose structure. I'm just saying. Listen,
but most places aren't like that. Most places,
you have to have,
unless you're trying to save the company money, which of course they're going to give you free reign of saving them money. It's a structured basis. So you have to educate people and children to be structured. These are appropriate times to do things.
Innovation, the STEM science. These are all things where you have to think outside the box. Biology and pharmaceuticals. These are thinking outside the box type of things. Putting together a podcast on a topic that will interest enough people to make you money. Thinking outside the box, man. That's the American dream, man. You have to have diverse ideas. You can't box them in with this curriculum and it's cookie cutter and this is what we're going to learn. Oh,
that's
look,
your opinion.
This is our state bird and this is our state
that's
flower,
your opinion.
and this is our state motto.
In my opinion, structuring them and getting them through a course like that and teaching them by memorization is the way to teach. When they get outside of school, then they can go and be their little free birds.
We are failing our students hardcore.
No, we're not failing our students. Look at what this is what they're doing right now. They're allowing kids to identify as cats and have cat boxes in the bathrooms.
Okay, and how many times did that happen? How many times?
It doesn't matter.
You
this
say
is what they're
they.
allowing.
No, you're saying they.
Somebody did, yes.
They happened once.
I don't know.
One time, and now it's they. Here we go with that fish again.
Because they're allowing the type of thing that you're saying. It's breaking out of a structure. You can't break out of a structure. A school is supposed to be structured to teach you. It teaches you not only to be structured, but it teaches you the things that it's trying to teach you while in a structure. You think outside the box on your own time.
To it, but I feel like what you're saying is you're just going to learn A, B, and C.
Yep.
That's all we want you to learn. But not every student learns like that. Not every student, you're not going to reach every student like that.
Yeah, a small percentage.
Heck, I don't even think you're going to reach the majority of students like that. Not nowadays.
It would take a little while to get back
to your phone.
It would take a little while. They're banning phones in school. Thank God now.
I'm just saying, we're losing them. We're totally losing.
We're losing them because we're giving them free thought and free reign.
No, we're not including the professionals that know what they're doing. We're not trusting them. We're not trusting the teachers. We're not paying the teachers.
Well, that's most of the problem right there.
It's just it's a structure that's in my mind collapsed.
Correct.
It really has.
Yep.
And I don't think we live in 2025. We shouldn't be teaching our kids in a structured system from the 1950s.
You're not wrong. It should have evolved throughout time, but like you said, it collapsed.
Right. So here's an opportunity to make it
restructure
diverse, absolutely, and make it inclusive. Not just one sect or two sects, not just say, yeah, we should teach about what we did to the indigenous people. Oh yeah, we should include. No, everybody, even the letters. Come on, everybody.
Well, that's an asterisk again, because that's a choice.
It's inclusive, brother. It's inclusive.
It's not inclusive. It's a choice. You didn't choose your history. Indians didn't choose their history. Japanese didn't choose their history. Irish didn't choose their history. Gays and lesbians chose their.
They chose
They chose
their
to be
history.
gays and lesbians. Yep.
They chose to be persecuted. They
They're
chose to
persecuted.
be marginalized.
Yep. Yep.
No, they did not.
They brought their sexuality outside of the house. Nobody's sexuality should be brought outside of the house.
When their rights are being marginalized,
Their rights would not be marginalized if they stayed within their boundaries of
they
their
can't
house.
get married.
Like even with
They can't
heterosexual
live.
people,
They can't
sexuality
live
doesn't
as
belong on the
couples.
street.
I don't believe they're having sex in the streets.
They're
Listen,
throwing their sexuality around in the streets. Just go home, be you. Walk
I
down
am
the
being
beach
me.
holding hands. I'm fine with that.
Well, what I don't
Making
understand
out
is
and
why.
doing this and doing that in front of a bunch of people, I'm not down with that. But I'm also not down with that for heterosexual people either.
So my rebuttal is this: it's what you're doing is you're creating, or you're using the term a culture war, and what you're actually doing by not being inclusive is you're making the classroom a political war zone, and by you standing your ground and not being inclusive, you're indoctrinating the students to be either for you or against you. So we're being divisive in our classroom by having this culture war instead of focusing on what really is the problem, which is all those things that we discussed before.
Yeah, but if the students were taught from the beginning that none of that stuff is actually acceptable in a school setting, then it would be a problem.
Okay, I missed your point. I'm saying that this culture war is not a war. It's a strategy to politicalize the classroom. That's what I'm trying to say. Instead of focusing on the lack of funding, the lack of inclusive history, bringing our classrooms out of 1950 and into 2025. I mean, that's really what we should be discussing, not this book should be banned or parents need more rights.
Yeah, well, let's go back to the fact that if they spend their money there, the government spends their money in teaching correctly, then they can't control you when you get older.
Well,
They'd rather
if we're
take the money
being
and put it into something else, like their uncle's contract with some jail, rather than pay for the children to be educated properly. They don't care about the
military.
chaos that's going on in teachers. They don't care about what's going on in schools. They act like they do.
Yeah, they do. They are absolutely they do. Look at the school systems in Texas and what they're banning there, or even in Florida. Well, no.
Yeah, but you're talking about a
is a
couple of
battle
states that are
zone.
very, very conservative,
Right?
and
And
they're
then we're talking about
restructuring schools.
right. So is
properly.
California and New York. In New York, there's
California
a
and New
program.
York are not structuring schools properly.
What?
They're just going to make it another
California
money
has
grab.
it is not a money grab.
Everything the government does is a money grab, even down to the city level, even down to the little league level.
Okay, let's do this. Let's find common ground. I think that's what we really need. We disagree on a lot, but
No,
in the
we
end,
only disagree on the letters having an asterisk next. As
No,
far as
no,
history
we
is
were
concerned,
disagreeing.
we completely agree on
Sure.
history. We don't agree on the way that the schools should be structured,
But we do agree that
that they need to be restructured.
we need better teachers.
We
or
need to pay
better
teachers properly.
We need to equip our teachers better with funds and experts.
No, you said it
and
right.
let
You don't.
them
You get
do
what you
their
pay
job.
for. There's a very few and far between teachers that are very high quality teachers on the money that they're given. I know a couple of teachers that are extremely good people, very good teachers.
Right.
They don't make good money. The only reason why they're able to do it is because their spouse makes money.
Well, we also need to have a civil debate. We need to stop thinking in terms of Democrat and Republican, and we need to come together and figure out what's best for our children and what's best for America's future, because that's really what they represent. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we both of us support that they need a safe environment to learn, right?
Yes.
We believe parents should absolutely have a say in the matter, as well as experts. Everybody needs to be involved. It takes a village to raise a child, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Schools definitely need to prepare our kids for civic duties and responsibilities. They need to know about our government. They need critical thinking skills in order to gain economic opportunities. I mean, that's really what we're trying to teach them. So on those things, we can agree, right?
Yes.
So there is hope for us as a society if we can promote respect for each other, recognize common ground, and then agree on what is best for our children and implement it. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, but the issue is that you're always going to be torn apart. The ripple's always going to be there.
If you let it, sure. But if you go at it with love, there is no law against love.
Yeah, but you need to find somebody to lead that, because it's not going to be the government that's going to do it.
No, but there is a flag of all inclusiveness.
Asterisks.
All right, so I'm going to end it with this. This is my thoughts on the whole deal. Teach the children not just the facts, but how to question and how to act. Let history speak in every tone, the triumphs sung and the wounds we know. From every book, a voice is heard, in every truth, a deeper word. Not left or right, but brave and wise. We lift the veil from clouded skies. So let the classroom be a place where justice walks with honest grace. And every child, no matter their name, can learn, can grow, and stake their claim. I bid you adieu.
What the fuck are you thinking? What the fuck are you thinking? I'm all ears.